We're following up tonight on an I-Team investigation on a state program that claims to pay your children to learn. It's a program that's tough to monitor as well. 13 ABC I-Team reporter Sean Haggerty is here to update us on one young man's experience and what parents need to watch out for. Sean?
Yeah, we're talking about programs in the Supplemental Education Services program, which is basically tutoring but not administered inside any kind of school building. Now, to be clear, there are plenty of providers in the program who are doing things well, and parents should find out if one of them works for them and their child. But keeping the programs accountable is clearly a challenge that involves your tax money. As Birmingham 5th grader Mikey Black waited for his money after completing one of these tutoring programs, we wanted to know how they're monitored, especially because each program that works with TPS gets $1,688 per student to tutor them. That money is federal tax dollars. Each student is allowed to get a reward for completing the program.
A provider is allowed to offer an incentive if the student completes their program. They've gone through all of the tutoring hours. That is completely legal. It cannot be over $50.
Now, you'll recall Mikey's mother says she was offered $100. So what does the state have to say about a program that in some cases offers close to $2,000 per kid for tutoring? We asked the Ohio Department of Education, and they basically didn't want to talk about it. When the I-Team asked for an interview on the program, here's the email response we got. We want to table this until we know we have our approval for the waiver for the No Child Left Behind. At that time, we will have much more to provide to you and to the public on the future of the tutoring opportunities for Ohio students, etc.
They're getting paid through someone, but I don't want them using my kid to get paid on when they didn't even live up to their end of the bargain with him.
Paying the student to tutor is not going to be the most effective way. We'd rather see a good quality research-based tutoring program where that tutor provider is progress monitoring and showing growth.
But TPS does not have the resources to monitor every tutoring program every day to make sure that the $1,688 are spent on kids. TPS has its own tutoring programs. The ones through SES are separate from the district. They can offer transportation, even a snack.
There's some very good providers out there that we're very impressed with. Then there's others that we've had to report to the state.
Which they did in 2011 when Fresh Start Academy had its contract canceled. According to this report from the district, Fresh Start was accused of forging documents. They are no longer an approved provider. There is a list of approved providers that TPS sends out to parents every year. The provider Mikey and his family used is in here, and the problems persisted. In the end, Mikey got his $50, but it was certainly a lesson in learning. But the program could be ending. Change could be on the way. That's all part of the waiver that the Department of Education was referring to. We'll explain that to you tomorrow night. Reporting live, Sean Haggerty, 13 ABC Action News.
Changes could be on the way to a program that the I-Team has been investigating this week. It's a state-run tutoring program where kids are actually paid to finish the program, but parents have some questions about how these things are run. 13 ABC's Sean Haggerty here with how it could all be changing. Sean?
Yeah, it's called the Supplemental Education Services Program, and it is money coming from the federal government to the school district, eventually to private tutors. And it is big money to the tune of $1,688 per TPS student for the current school year, but the whole equation may change. As part of the No Child Left Behind Act, Ohio is required to use 20% of its Title I money, which this school year turns into about $19 million for TPS, on these supplemental educational services. Title I money comes from the federal government. Ohio has now been approved a waiver to get out of the program.
We could do a little background checking on our own and say this has been a good provider over the years through experience, and we could select those for the parents. You know, give them maybe not as many options, but good quality providers.
Toledo Public is not the only district in the area that gets these funds. Take a look at some of the other districts that get the money and the average amount of money that the private tutors get per student. Districts getting that money are based on free and reduced school lunches, and if that school is meeting its adequate yearly progress. At Washington local schools, there are some reservations about the program.
I think a lot of the research is showing that it's got moderate to minimal effectiveness. What we've seen in our district is we've seen with certain vendors, kids making gains, with other vendors not so much.
And it's not just large city districts involved. Genoa, for example, gets the money as well and receives about $1,000 per student. That program started in March. 26 kids received tutoring services.
I think it was very effective. I think from the parent input that I received, they were very pleased with the students' progress. Of course, online's different than day-to-day interactions, but I think they were both effective and they both met the needs of the students.
But policing the program is easier here in Genoa than it is in, say, Toledo Public. When Genoa schools advertised for private companies, only 2 showed up to talk with parents. One of them was an online program. TPS works with 41.
I got a complete readout of the students, the programs, how many hours they put in either the area of reading or math, whatever they were identified in.
Changes and the elimination could be coming to the program now that the waiver has been approved. But in the meantime, here's a local suggestion.
One of the things as a district that we would like to see is to have more kind of say into what does the tutoring look like, what does the kind of benchmarking process look like, how are we assessing growth.
To get a look at all the rankings and ratings of these private tutoring companies, we have a link posted to the latest Department of Education data that is posted right now on 13abc.com, so you can take a look at it and decide which program might work for your child. Plus, we have a response today from the Department of Education itself on the waiver. Reporting live, Sean Hagerty, 13ABC Action News.
Toyota.
Live from Toledo, this is 13ABC Action News.
Well, a tutoring program the I-Team has been telling you about all week is being shut down by the state of Ohio. Welcome to Action News at 5:30. I'm Christian Brown.
And I'm Susan Ross Wells. It is called Supplemental Educational Services, and it might be the last time you hear about that program. I-Team reporter Sean Hagerty's been on the story all week, and he's here live with its ending. Sean?
Yeah, it's an ending many would like to see because they basically say it's a program that doesn't have enough monitoring and a lot of money being thrown at it from the federal government. It's basically tutoring outside of the classroom run by a private company. Now, school districts qualify for the money based on performance and free and reduced lunch participants. That's also how the money is determined. In Toledo Public, for example, the private tutors get almost $1,700 per student to tutor them. But education experts we've spoken with say there's no real way to monitor how the money's being spent and what kind of education the children are getting. But with a new waiver from the federal government, the districts will be able to decide what tutors they want to hire and what services are needed. Federal money will still be available, but the districts, will have more control over where it goes. Now, this waiver takes effect immediately, so there will be no SES when school starts up in the fall. Tutoring programs will still exist, and each school district that qualifies will let parents know how that new system will look. Expect to hear about those as the school year gets closer.